The flashing red and blue lights lit up the quiet suburban street. The colors reflecting off the rows of neatly kept homes. Officer Mark Reynolds stepped out of his patrol car, his hand resting on his holster. He scanned the area before his eyes landed on a woman standing confidently in front of a modest brick house. "Hands where I can see them." Reynolds barked, his voice slicing through the stillness. The woman didn't flinch. Her posture was upright, her navy blue suit impeccable, her hair pulled into a low bun. She frowned but held her ground. "Excuse me? What's this about?" "I said hands where I can see them," Reynolds repeated, louder this time, stepping forward. "This is my property," she replied, her voice calm but firm. "I'd like to know what's going on before you shout at me again." "You match the description of a suspect," Reynolds snapped, already reaching for his cuffs. "Turn around. Now." The woman's eyes narrowed. "I'm not turning around until you explain yourself." Without warning, Reynolds grabbed her wrist and twisted it behind her back with unnecessary force. "Resisting arrest? That's another charge," he growled. "I'm not resisting," she said through gritted teeth, her voice strained from the pain. "You're making a mistake." Ignoring her, Reynolds tightened the cuffs and shoved her toward the patrol car. She stumbled, her heels scraping against the pavement as a small crowd began to gather, their whispers growing louder. "Call someone," she called out to the bystanders, her voice steady despite the chaos. "Call the federal courthouse." "Enough," Reynolds snarled, pushing her into the back seat. "Save it for the judge." She let out a dry laugh as he slammed the door. "You're going to regret that." Earlier that morning, Judge Naomi Sinclair had followed her usual routine. Up before dawn, 3 court hearings before lunch, a mediation afterward, and a dinner with her mitts. Her days were packed, but she thrived on structure. Today, however, she had carved out time to check in on her elderly aunt, who lived alone in the suburban neighborhood. Naomi had planned a quick visit, but a leaky faucet and a lengthy chat over tea stretched her stay into the early afternoon. Stepping out onto the quiet street, Naomi took a deep breath, enjoying the calm. It wasn't until she walked toward her car parked a few houses down that she noticed the patrol car idling nearby. She didn't think much of it until she caught the officer watching her, his eyes hard and assessing. She squared her shoulders and kept walking to eye in the patrol car. Reynolds sat bored and restless. He had been on this street for nearly an hour following up on a vague call about a burglary suspect. Black woman, mid-40s, seen wandering near houses. It wasn't much to go on, but when he saw Naomi walking down the sidewalk, it was enough for him that he radioed in. "I've got someone who matches the description." "Wait for backup," dispatch advised. But Reynolds didn't wait. "Ma'am," he called out as he got out of his patrol car, his hand already on his holster. "I need to see some ID." Naomi turned, raising an eyebrow. "For what reason?" "You're under suspicion for trespassing and possible burglary." Naomi blinked. "That's absurd. I'm visiting my aunt. She lives right there." She gestured toward the house behind her. "ID. Now." Her patience thinned. "I don't have to show you anything. I haven't done anything wrong." Reynolds' jaw tightened. "You're escalating this, ma'am. And you're making a scene," Naomi retorted. "I'll show you my ID, but I expect an apology when you realize your mistake." She reached into her purse, but Reynolds misread the motion. In a flash, he grabbed her arm and twisted it behind her back. "That's it. You're under arrest." "For what?" Naomi demanded, struggling to keep her balance. "We'll figure it out downtown," Reynolds sneered. Neighbors emerged from their homes, drawn by the commotion. Some began filming on their phones. "She didn't do anything," a man shouted. "She lives here," another woman cried. But Reynolds ignored them, shoving Naomi into the back of his patrol car. "You have no idea what you've done," she said, calm but fierce, as the door slammed shut. At the station, Reynolds walked Naomi through the booking process, still unaware of who she was. The other officers glanced at them, some confused, some indifferent. A few recognized Naomi, their eyes widening. But before anyone could speak, the atmosphere shifted. The station's captain, David Morales, entered, his expression darkening as he took in the scene. "Reynolds," he barked. "What the hell is going on?" "Suspect matched the description of a burglary call," Reynolds replied. Defensive. Morales' jaw clenched. "Do you have any idea who this is?" "She's a suspect. Asterisk, she's a federal judge. Asterisk." The weight of Morales' words hit the room like a brick. Reynolds' face drained of color as Naomi lifted her chin, the cuffs still tight around her wrists. "Judge Sinclair," Morales said, rushing over. "Are you all right?" "I'm fine," Naomi replied, though her voice was clipped with frustration. "But I expect this to be handled properly." "Get those cuffs off her," Morales snapped. Reynolds fumbled with the keys, avoiding Naomi's icy glare. "This is going to be a nightmare," Morales muttered under his breath. Naomi didn't miss it. "You have no idea." Asterisk, asterisk, the fallout was swift. Asterisk, asterisk, news of the wrongful arrest spread within hours. Videos filmed by neighbors circulated online, showing Reynolds manhandling Naomi despite her calm demeanor. The public outcry was immediate. Reynolds was placed on administrative leave pending investigation, but Naomi wasn't satisfied. She didn't want a quiet resolution. She wanted accountability, not just for herself, but for others who didn't have her platform. Enter Tyler Grant, an investigative journalist and an old friend. Naomi called him that evening. "Tyler, I need this story out there," she said. "Naomi, this is huge," he replied. "But you sure you want this kind of attention? This isn't about me. It's about the system that lets this happen." Tyler's article dropped the next morning. The headline read asterisk asterisk, federal judge wrongfully arrested. A case of racial profiling exposes systemic flaws, asterisk asterisk. It went viral. News anchors debated it, community activists rallied behind Naomi, and police reform advocates seized the moment to call for broader changes. Meanwhile, Reynolds sat at home, scrolling through the relentless storm of coverage. The videos, the commentary, every angle painted him as the villain. "I was following protocol," he muttered, but the voice in his head wouldn't let up. "Or were you following bias?" Captain Morales held a press conference, trying to control the narrative. "This was an unfortunate mistake," he told reporters. "But it highlights the need for better training and accountability within our department." But Naomi wasn't having it. She stepped in front of the cameras later that day. "This wasn't a mistake," she said, her voice steady. "It was a pattern, one I've seen my entire life. The only difference this time is that I had the power to fight back." The crowd roared in support. Asterisk, asterisk, the investigation into Reynolds revealed more than Naomi expected. Asterisk, asterisk, complaints of racial profiling. Allegations of excessive force. Most of it swept under the rug. Until now, Reynolds was officially dismissed, but Naomi pushed for more. She advocated for new bias training, civilian oversight boards, and a public forum where community members could speak out. At one of those forums, Reynolds showed up. He stood awkwardly at the back until Naomi noticed him. "You want to say something?" she asked, calling him out. Reynolds hesitated, then stepped forward. "I was wrong," he admitted. "I didn't see it before, but I do now. I let my assumptions dictate my actions, and I'm sorry." The crowd murmured, some skeptical, others silently impressed. Naomi studied him for a beat. "Acknowledgement is the first step, but change, that takes work." Reynolds nodded, his face flushed with emotion. "Then I'm ready to do the work." Asterisk, asterisk, months later, asterisk, asterisk, the community was different. Bias training was mandatory. The Civilian Oversight Board was active, and Naomi continued to advocate for systemic change, balancing her role as a judge with her newfound role as a reformer. One afternoon, she received a letter from a law student who had followed the case. Asterisk, thank you for standing up when it was easier to stay silent. Because of you, I know what kind of lawyer I want to be. Asterisk, Naomi smiled. This was why she fought, not just for herself, but for the future, and though the road ahead was long, Naomi knew one thing for certain. She wasn't walking it alone.